sign in, otherwise I wouldn't have, because it would be advantageous to be later, and I think if you're not on that, you should not be allowed to speak. Thank you very much. I'd like to start with Terry, John, Matt, Dale, Roger, Joe. Thank you for pursuing the zoning clarification amendment rather than the moratorium. Even if you needed a little nudging to do that, I think it's still the right direction to go. I'd like to say I second what Brian said, basically, and I have a couple of questions, and then I have some points that I hope you'll take to heart, or at least give some serious thought to. Number one, hypocrisy. It's something that I truly disdain, and I don't know of anybody that really likes it, and if it's not going in the direction you're looking at things going in, it doesn't usually work well. And with that in thought, I'd really like to know is there anybody on the village board here that does not use natural gas to at least heat with? And the quickest way was to expect not to get anybody to say anything contrary to that. Okay, next question is why? And I'll answer that for you if you'll allow me to, and if I'm wrong, truly correct me, any one of you can. It's the cost. And that brings us into the hypocrisy issue here. You know, everybody always likes to talk about fixed income people. Everyone likes to use those as an example. Okay, if you're heating with fuel oil or propane, that means it's going to cost you about 3 times as much to do that if you're doing it that way. Natural gas is there and it's available. Now, if natural gas development is so bad, how in good conscience could any of you allow others to be exploited for your gain? And actually, that's more a matter of convenience than it is anything else. Savings and convenience, actually. All this could be put to rest very easily if all that oppose natural gas development just stopped using anything that was supported by natural gas use. If the numbers opposing natural gas development are as great as they say, then this would all cease to be an issue, because with no demand, there would be no development. Something I think maybe to keep in mind. If we could shut that off, then maybe people would have a different idea about things. Next, be cautious of where you get your information from. As one Irving Wesley Hall, apparent leader of the anti-natural gas development people, has stated in a public meeting, and I quote, "Norse went bankrupt last week. Who knows what kind of people will take control of all of our mineral rights? Who will protect us from these unknown outsiders?" The answer is local boards just like you. Well, North Energy is not gone. They are going through financial restructuring, thanks to New York State. But even if they were gone, we necessarily know less about anyone else coming in than we do about Irving Wesley Hall and David Slatchy. It's a question I think you need to think about. And I think that needs serious consideration. Let's take some examples. An article in Progress Shenango on Monday of this week. A very inappropriate place for the rant when progress is not progress at all, authored by Irving Wesley Hall. I'd like to take a few minutes to go through that. I have a few highlighted areas from that, actually more than a few. I'll just go through a few that I think are relevant. Very one starts out. Often when an innovative technology, hydraulic fracturing, gas drilling, arrives, we call it progress. This question came to mind along with several sad childhood memories when I recently watched a tearful Oxford farmer describe his injured calf. Well, that might be an injured calf, but generally farmers that have calves that they don't want or need, or even wasn't the right gender, they go to market. They don't just get injured. So if this happened to be injured and it got well, I think it did okay then. And that's just this scaremongering, just this get everything and blow it out of proportion.
Well, I mean, not to interrupt you, but,
Yeah.
and I'll give you the time that you want, but
Okay.
please kind of keep your comments directly on the gas issue. I mean, if your
Right.
point was
Yes.
be careful, we should be
That's
careful. Please, we should be careful where we get our information from. We'll take that to heart. I think that's your point. But to start singling out individuals or people probably isn't helpful.
Okay, no, I can live with that, and it's just with respect to this article, if anybody wants to read it, they can very easily find one. Or I have this if anybody wants it in addition to. And yes, that was my point, actually, is to get you to realize that the people you're getting information from may not be the most advantageous place to get that information from. I'll just close with a little bit then. I'll get off of that. I'll leave this go. Did a lot of work on it, too. It's unfortunate. So, at any rate, and it's nice to get the applause from someone, even from the other side. And anyway, lastly, I think you're moving in the right direction, but keep in mind, the larger landowners bordering the town, give them a reasonable way to develop their resources. It's only fair, and it's the right thing to do. And the consequences to consider of not giving those people an opportunity is with viewscape is one of the things that's kind of a new term that people like to use. And think about the fact that the village is surrounded by hills, most of which are not totally owned by people in the village. There's towns that border that. And that means the village has no control over basically the tops of a lot of those hills that surround the village. With respect and cooperation, there could be no visible development on the village side of these hills. With the cooperation of the people that owns that property, if we chose and we put it in those leases that we didn't want these areas of development exposed to the village, that could be accomplished. And basically, I'll put this differently than I have it written, just for the heck of it. But anyway, if we were to displease too many of the wrong people, it could easily result in visible natural gas development from just about everywhere in the village. So if you get people that take the attitude, man, they're trying to screw me, they're making this too hard for me to deal with, I can't accomplish that, then it turns out that the village has no control because we're in the town, everything's a go with this. That means anywhere in the village, you sit here, you look up on the hill, you can see natural gas development. That wouldn't be anything any of us would want, but it's a reality if people get angry enough about how far they get pushed into the corner. So please keep this all in mind, and we need to keep everything fair for everybody, and I think we'll all come out ahead on it. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.